Okay, hello second graders. Today we're looking at lesson 7-5. They're asking us to continue to solve two-step problems, just like we did yesterday, and we're going to find that on page 415. So if you can please take out your book and your pencils, I'm going to share my workspace with you here. We can see Marta on that page. Looks like she's maybe in a library or a classroom. Her workspace is here, and I'm going to go ahead and read the story. It says you have 26 library books. You return some books. Then you take out 15 more books. Now you have 27 books. How many books did you return? Solve any way you choose and show your work. Okay, so we know that we're going to be working with two-step problems. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is identifying my important information. I know at the beginning of the story it says that you have 26 library books, and then something happens. You return some books. Okay, now just take in that information. You return some books. So if you have 26 and you're returning some, then we know we're going to be taking some away, right? Once you return them, you take out 15 more books. Now you have 27 books. How many books did you return is the question. Okay, and we have two steps that we need to solve for. All right, so first I know I have 26 books, and I know I have to take some away. I don't know how many. Okay, and then I end up with my difference. Now, once I have my difference, I know that I have, I take out 15 more. So I have this one plus 15. Okay, and then at the end of that, I have 27. Okay, so those are the two steps that I'm going to need to do. However, when I look at these two steps and I'm noticing how much information I have in my first step and how much information I'm having in my second step, I see that my second step is where I have the best information, right? I have two knowns and just one unknown. In my first equation, I have two unknowns, so I can't solve for that yet. All right, so let's start by looking here. Something plus 15 equals 27. Another way of thinking about that, if I wanted to get a different kind of visual, is 27 is the whole, and then I have 15 plus something to equal 27, right? So I need to figure out how many more I need to get to 27. Okay, we also know that once a problem is set up like this, I can take away, right? If I'm looking to solve for an unknown part, I can subtract. So if I did 27, take away 15, and I lined up my tens and ones, that would be an easy way to solve for this unknown, right? Okay, so let's try. If I have 7, take away 5, I don't need to regroup, do I? 7 take away 5 gives me 2. And then 2 take away 1 gives me 1, for a total of 12. Okay, so now I know that it's 12 plus 15. That gives me 27. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use another color. So I had 12 here. I filled in 12 in my parts to whole. And now I can take it back here to my equation, 12. Okay. All right, I also know now that I have this information that I can use this to help me with my first equation, right? I had 26 books. I took some back. I don't know how many. And then I wasn't sure what I had after that. I just knew that I added 15 more. Well, now I know. I had 12 after I returned some books, right? So now I have enough information to be able to solve. I started with 26. I took some back. So let's do that. Let's organize that down here. What would that look like? I had 26 altogether, right? I took 12 back. No, I'm sorry, I ended up with 12. I want to know how many I took back. Okay, so again, I'm solving for an unknown part, which means I'm going to be subtracting, right? Okay, so I have 26 minus 12. Line up my tens and ones. 6 minus 2 gives me 4. And 2 minus 1 gives me 1, for a total of 14. So my difference is 14. So I can fill that in for my part here, my missing part. And that helps me to know that I started with 26 books. I returned 14. And at the end, I had 12. And then once I had those 12, I checked out 15 more books. And at the very end, there were 27 books altogether. Okay, so two-step problems. It really requires us to slow down and think about what the question is asking us, and also take some time to figure out what equations would match, where we have the most information, where we can start solving the problem. Okay, so a lot of mathematical reasoning goes into these. Let's get some more practice on the next page. If you need more time with this, you can go ahead and pause the video. And then we're going to go ahead and look at the top of the next page. Okay, so Marta is here. I'm going to read this story. You can follow along. Mia sees 15 yellow birds and 16 red birds. Some birds fly away, and now Mia sees 14 birds. How many birds flew away? Okay, so Mia is thinking out loud, and she says, I need to solve the first step of the problem in order to solve the second step. Let's identify her important information. Mia sees 15 yellow birds and 16 red birds. Then some fly away, we don't know how many. And now Mia sees 14 birds altogether. Okay, so let's take it one step at a time. We know that at the beginning, Mia saw 15 yellow and 16 red. Those are our two parts. And we need to know how many that makes all together. What is the whole, right? So she does her equation to the side. She writes 15 plus 16, okay? 5 plus 6 gives her 11. She carries the 1. And then 1 plus 1 plus 1 gives her 3, for a total of 31. 31. Okay, so now we know that Mia sees 31 birds in all. Okay, so once we know that part, then we can use that along with knowing that at the very end, she saw 14 birds altogether. So there were 31 birds. Some flew away, we don't know how many, and then there were 14 birds left. Okay, again, whenever we're solving for an unknown part, we know we're going to be subtracting, which makes sense because we're talking about some birds flying away. So we're taking away, right? Okay, so we have 31, take away 14. We lined up our tens and ones. So now I have 1 take away 4. I know I can't do that, so I go next door and borrow from the 3. Now that 3 becomes a 2. And the 10 that I borrowed gets added to the 1. So now I have 11. And 11 take away 4 equals 7. Okay, when I look at my tens place, I have 2 take away 1, and that gives me 1. So how many birds flew away? 17 birds flew away. Okay, all right, let's take a look at the guided practice. They are asking us to complete the equations to solve. All right, so number 1, I'm going to read first. There are some boys painting and 9 girls painting in all. Let me read that again. There are some boys painting and 9 girls painting in all. 17 children are painting. Then some more boys come to paint. Now there are 15 boys painting. how many more boys come to paint? Okay, so let's go back and identify important information. And this is where it's important to slow down and really think about what we're being asked to solve for. Okay, so at the beginning, I know that there are some boys, I don't know how many, and I know that there are 9 girls, right? And altogether, that makes 17. Okay, so if I think about what that would look like, if I organize that information, I know altogether there are 17, and I know that there are 9 girls. What I don't know is how many boys there are, right? It just says there were some. So the way they set up their problem was to do something plus 9 equals 17. That's how they set it up, okay? Another way we could have set it up, because we're solving for an unknown, is to write 17 minus 9 equals blank. That is also going to give us the correct answer of how many boys there are. So 17 minus 9 equals 8. But another way of thinking about it is the way they set it up, which is 8 plus 9 equals 17. It's just a related fact, right? Okay, so now once we've solved for the first step, let's read the rest and see what we need to do next. Okay, so we know that there were 9 girls, 8 boys, 17 kids altogether. All right, then some more boys come to paint. Okay, more boys come to paint. We don't know how many. Now there are 15 boys painting. How many more boys come to paint? Okay, well, we know that there were 8 boys at the beginning. That's what we just solved for, right? So we had 8 boys at the beginning. We don't know how many more come, but we know that at the end there are 15 boys painting. Okay, so 8 plus something equals 15. If I were to do that in a parts to whole chart, I know 15 is how many boys I have all together, and there were 8 that were painting originally. I need to know how many more boys came. So one way to set up the problem is this way, but another way is to do subtraction, right? 15 take away 8 equals something. 15 take away 8. Okay, 15 take away 8 gives me 7, for those of you who have that in your long-term memory. If not, what do? We can start with 15 and count back 8, right? You get that? So we scoop up 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Okay. All right, so 8 plus 7 equals 15, and that's how many boys came to paint. 7. All right. Okay, let's go ahead then and take a look at the independent practice. They're asking us to solve each problem any way you choose and show your work. So you're going to do that for numbers 2, 3, and 4. And I don't want you to worry right now about number 5. Don't worry about that part. Just concentrate on these 3. Okay. Looking at the space, you may need some additional space, so you always have your whiteboard and your marker. If you find out that you're running out of room and you're having to squish things really tightly, go ahead and use your whiteboard, okay? All right, guys, I will be seeing you very soon then. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Until then, take care. Bye.